Hey everybody, it's Marty, the JavaScript party, and Rhett. I will be. It is January 19th. I'll be putting this video out as soon as I finish with it. This is a very, very interesting day because it is the day that TikTok was shut down by the federal government. And it's going to be by the U.S. federal government. It's interesting, very, very interesting. I don't know what to think about it. I sort of went on a rant on it on my last video that I just did, but won't be shown until the it won't be published until Monday, no, Tuesday. The 21st is when that one will get published. So yeah, that is now I'm like, oh man, did I do that right? Pretty sure I did that right. But yeah, Jan 21. Um, but I did go on a bit of a rant in that video about it. I just don't know what to think of the whole thing. Um, Definitely, I did not think it was going to happen. Like me and my wife, we would talk about this. I'd be like, it's never going to happen. They're not going to shut it down. There's just too many Americans that use it. Too many people make their living off of it. It's just, the government is going to, they're just never going to actually shut it down. And I really did not think the Supreme Court would go with it. Would be like, oh yeah, no, it's totally cool. Americans don't deserve to be able to listen to and watch whatever they want. We, as the federal government, choose to do that. And like, it is, that's why we don't. That's why we have changes, right? Like, because what society believes and wants changes constantly. And I think it's why, like, oh well. So the thing is like sometimes people kind of like you can divide people up and you can sort of segment society in many different ways. And like you could say, oh, these are what technical people, and this is what technical people want, and this is what farmers want, and this is what people that own dogs want, and people that have squirrels want. And you have all these different sort of people, and we can you can slice and dice this up in any way that you kind of want to look at us. But one of the ways that for some reason here in the US we don't look at very often is like leadership. Like, I've always thought that, like, if you took whatever you would consider America's greatest enemy is, and you put me in a room with a computer programmer, and then you put our president in a room with their leader, that in an hour I would be having a very pleasant, awesome conversation with the programmer from the our enemy country, and in an hour our leader would be having a very pleasant conversation with the leader from the other country. Like, I have a lot more in common with people that do what I do than with people in which I share a nationality with. And I think that is the reality, and of course, our leadership, the people who lead us, will always want to control what we can say and hear. Like, that's just their nature, and they're always gonna have great reasons. Like, oh, we need to do this to protect the children. We need to do this to protect you. We need to do this to protect me. They're always gonna have a lot of good reasons for trying to limit what we can say and hear. That's just sort of the reality. And then we have a governmental system in which, like, we have different powers that be, and they're sort of designed to sort of be at odds with each other. But they sort of change teams. We're always changing teams here. And right now we have our legislative branch is just sort of exactly in sync with our leadership, our executive branch, and our leadership people. They're all they all agree with each other at this time, but they don't always agree with each other. And that is like kind of thing that, like, you have to understand when you live in the United States, is that, like, as we get all these different, like, sort of cohorts of different groups of people that sort of ally themselves together and then disally themselves, and then they're no longer allied, they'll start to, um, things change and all that. And I don't know how this all plays out. Like, obviously we have a legislative branch right now that is in absolute cahoots with our judicial branch, which is in absolute cahoots with our executive branch. And we just had a massive change in leadership and at the executive level, but we really didn't have that big of a change at the legislative level. And we haven't had any kind of change, any kind of disruption at the judicial level in a very, very long time. And as the regular people get more and more unhappy, what will happen is, like, it's possible that that massive change that happened at the executive level might happen at the legislative level. And then if that happens, then we might start seeing, like, judicial people start to have issues, like they may all start getting pulled back out and fired or whatever. Like, it's just the way things are, and we're just happen to be in a spot that we're in right now. But anyways, so basically for this voice analyzer and this discrete thing, and as I mentioned in my other video, like, I feel like it's important that I talk about these things because in the US, like, we have freedom of speech, but we do not have the right to say whatever we want. And those two sort of concepts sort of bounce off of each other a lot. But a big part of whether you can, how much you're allowed to say without getting in any kind of trouble, is the scenario. And, like, if you always, if all I ever talk about is code and I never talk about politics at all, which I do talk about politics from time to time, if I never talk about politics and then one day I start talking about politics when I never have before, my chances of actually getting in trouble go way up. But if I talk about politics from time to time, then I won't find myself in a situation where the expectation is that I won't talk about politics. Like, I want it to be very, very clear to the people that make the decisions of what information different folks in our society are allowed to hear. Like, I want those people to be on notice that I will say what I think. Um, and I mean, I choose to stay focus on code because that's what I understand the best, and that's what makes, like, that's where I feel like I add the most value. But don't think that I won't say what I think. And so if these whatevers are deciding to not, like, okay, so like one time I was talking to a lady and we were talking about a specific health issue, and we were standing literally right next to each other, and we both did a search for the exact same keywords in Google, and we got extraordinarily different results, like completely different results. And I was just like, what is the deal? And she's just like, what is the deal? We are so confused that we both typed in the exact same keywords, but we didn't. And so then she typed in the name of a very specific name instead of the generality. And then she got that information. And then after she did that, she started getting. So it's like, it's very clear that we are sort of segmented into bubbles of information that, like, only certain, like, I'm not allowed. Like, for example, my wife today, she was commiserating with some people about tumblers, and she found some people that were, like, on TikTok that had like a million followers that did tumblers that she'd never heard of before. And she had always been under the impression that the Tumblr community was a small community so that she would know everybody. But these were huge, big fish that she'd never even heard of. That's not an accident, right? Like, we are all being sort of held in bubbles of information and all that. And if you if you misbehave in your bubble of information that you're allowed to operate in, you can get in trouble. So I definitely want to talk outside of, I want to, I want it to be clear that I will speak on a very large latitude. Like, I literally, so I don't want to find myself in a situation where I say some stuff and then some powerful people go, oh my God, he said something. And now all these people know this thing that we didn't want them to know and all that. So, that's that. I think that's a big reason why, like sort of my reality of the world sort of shifted because I just did not think they were going to shut TikTok down. It just really blows my mind that they did, and it's just like I don't know exactly what I think, but I do know that whatever I think is different than what I thought 48 hours ago. So there's that. But what I do know is that it would be really nice to be able to mouse over this and see what the other 5 words that my operating system thought I might have said were. That would just be that that would really really assuage my curiosity. Now we but I think this whole screen would be very very noisy if I had that all the time. So that's why I want to make it to where like just when I want to know. Because I honestly think as I use this thing, most of the time I probably don't want to know. But every once in a while I'm gonna want to know. Um, I mean, I think I have a pretty good guess of what all these hello things are, but there could be a word that I say and I'm like, okay, now what does it think I said? So, and then like, yeah, today me and my wife were talking and she was like, the word respite came up. And I believe that that is a respite, but she believes it's respite. And it would be, and I will right now, I will try both. Respite. Okay, so that's how I say it. And it has a 54% and it couldn't think of anything else. And then respite. Okay, so now it's like 89%, but it thinks it might be something else. So let's just go ahead and clear all of this by reloading. Respite. Okay, so now it's stuck with 1. Respite. Okay, this time it's 3. So let's see. I believe it's going to be the second set of green ones. So it kind of stinks that we have to do this. It would be nice to just mouse over and see what it thought the other 2. Oh, despite. So, and I wonder if despot. I've heard people say despot, but I thought that was like a bad person, a despot. But maybe it's despite. Um, but anyways, yeah. So it gives like a 78% that I said respite, but it thinks that I might have said. It thinks there's like a 50-50 chance that I said despite. But if I say, and let's try it again. Respite. Oh, so now it dropped and it was 2. Respite. It's still on that. So it's still 2. So I guess it probably doesn't matter which way I look. Recipe. So maybe some people say recipe, recip. So, anyways, yeah, so that's interesting. It looks like both are fairly reasonable. Both are very reasonable within our country, within the U.S., within whatever this OS is respecting. Both are reasonable pronunciations, and that's good to know. And that is what is nice about this tool. But what is not nice about this tool is that you have to go to that log and go search for something that, probably should be easily available. So, what is the next step? Okay, so I guess the very next step is to get over this whole TikTok thing, but it's going to take me some time. Um, but what we can do in the meantime is try to get that out of my head, and I will pass this result over into here because we're going to want to populate that div with information from the result. But Angular quite correctly has recognized that I'm trying to pass something in that it doesn't that hasn't been notified of. over here. So let's just say that this is the result, and that is of type. Is it a type of results? Did I create a? So discrete service results. What I'm curious about is if this is strongly typed or not. I call it a discrete result. Okay, so that's good. So I'm gonna hold the control button, hit the left button. Oh, maybe it's the alt button. Alt button and left. And this is a discrete result. And for now, all I'm gonna do is console log that. And result. And what I think is gonna happen is I will see like a lot of data. I'm hoping I see a lot of data. I'm hoping that a discrete result has all the data in it. Respite. Okay, and then we'll move our tools on and we'll mouse over. Okay, so that's kind of a bummer. I probably need, wherever I set that up, I need to add the new thing in there, the new data that we want. So I'm going to go to discrete result first thing. I don't know exactly how to do this, but I think it would be nice just to have. Do I care about the confidence? I don't think so. I don't think, and I know I was like this. I was like, I don't care, but I don't think I care about the confidence of the other choices. Like, I think if I'm to that, I think I just want to know what it thinks I might have said. I don't think I care. I don't know. Actually, let's go ahead and just add the confidence too. I'm going to create another thing, and it's going to be, I guess, transcript all transcripts. And this is I'm just going to call it a transcript. It's an array of discrete transcripts. Which doesn't exist yet, but basically a discrete transcript is, and I'll go ahead and export it. It's an interface, and it is called a discrete transcript. And I don't think I usually pluralize these things. But it's called discrete transcript. And it has two things. It has a transcript and a confidence. And the transcript is a string, and the confidence is a number. And it is required, so stuff should break. And it should break in a lot of places, I think. So let's go to the first place and hope that it's a good place for us to do. Okay, so yeah, we want all of our. So what happens is we have our result transcript, and then we add that. And what would be nice is if, let's see, what was it called again? amazing how fast I can forget things. Discrete result. Um, that's the type, not what it's called. I think it's called like all others, all transcripts. And for now, I'm just going to make that an array. And that is fine. And that's one of the things I really like about using arrays. But what we're going to do is in our results, we're going to go through, I can't even remember. I think what happens is this, see, we're just hard coded to the first one, assuming that's the best one. But we want to go through, let's see, const, and then we're going to call this all transcripts. And we're just going to say that's an empty. And then I think we can just get rid of this. But I guess we have to say that it is a colon discrete result array. So we're allowed to, we could do this. And I do this every single time because I don't like this. I really do not like this. I really do prefer this. But I find myself to be in a minority of people. So I like to do that just for my own mental sanity. And now I think what we want to do is we want to populate our all transcripts. So result.results dot, and so okay, oh, 0 dot, and we're just going to go for each. I think it's supposed to be a capital E. I don't know why it suggests the lowercase e, but and so basically each one of these is going to be a result. And each result will have its own transcript. And its own length. So we're going to say, I don't know what. And I don't think I have. Yeah, I think it's going to be an any. And the reason it's an any is I don't really like doing any. That is definitely a bad smell. But this structure has not been established yet. It's not been accepted. So I don't want to imply, I don't want to create my own. I don't want to do anything to imply that it has been established. So it is an any, because that's what it is. It's an any. So normally in JavaScript, especially in 2025, normally things have been established. You know, almost all things in JavaScript, especially with respect to the browser, has been strongly typed, and it's very clear what the APIs are very established. We know exactly how we're talking. That is not the case in this. So any, this is the perfect time. This is when you should say any, or possibly, see, unknown means that has a different meaning. I think any means, it would be kind of nice is, you know, if they had a TBD or something, like a way to specifically say, no, this is not just me being lazy. This literally is unknown. No one knows what it's going to be at this point. But now we are going to take our all transcripts and we are going to push a value into it. And we are going to push a object, and that object is going to have two things in it, and one of them is I think it's the transcript. And just for funsies, we're going to do that. And then the other, I think, is confidence. That's supposed to be a number. Okay, so obviously I'm doing something wrong. Okay, yeah, it's not discrete result. Let's go to that definition. It's whatever the other thing was, discrete transcript. Is that a good name? Yeah, I guess it is. So transcript has a confidence along with it. I don't know. Seems like a good name. Now it's upset. Oh, I think the blue probably means that it just needs to be imported. And it is kind of funny that it's still happy with us down here. But anyways, so now we hit save. Everything should work and we should get like respite. Let's pause this. Oh, pause an exception. Okay, so result and results. Oh, okay, wait a second. Maybe it's in there. Okay, so it is not happy with the fact that, let me make this bigger, that I interacted with this like it's an array. So that's a speech recognition result, and then speech recognition alternative. That's weird. I don't remember ever seeing that before. So this was 0, 0. And then, okay, so let's go ahead and just deal with that. Let's let it break, and let's try one that we know is always returns a lot of things. Hello. Okay. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, okay. So I think that, okay, so let's go ahead and paste this in here. Result dot. So I may, do we want to, A is equal to, is it array dot from? And then we'll just do A. And then A dot for each. Okay, so A is a single item. So, okay, so maybe, okay, let's just change this to B. And then results 0. Now B dot for, okay, so B is what we want. Okay, so we want to create an array like this. I can't even begin to tell you, like, I don't know if that looked easy to you, but I cannot, just how many hours I spent sort of getting to where I was comfortable with with that sort of what I just did. And then And that is just exactly the kind of stuff that's going to they're going to change the way that works. There's no way that they don't change the way that works. Because it is there. I'm sure people complain about that all the time. Or if people start using it, they'll start complaining about that. Um, hello. Okay, we got 5. Let's look at our inspect. And what we expect to see is like a bunch of A's and all that in the console. And all, yeah, okay, so that's good. So now let's go actually populate it with real data, the real stuff. And result.confidence. And then let's go to inspect that and move this to the console. And hello. And there. And now let's go ahead and look in this and just make sure it's all the stuff we want. Yep. So that's exactly what I thought that would be. And then respite. Okay, well, there's only one. Respite. Oh my goodness. Lord. Okay, yeah, that was an interesting one that I wanted to see from the other day. So let's see what the other 3 are. And this is a mystery to me because I was very surprised the other day. Lords. This is probably a name, I'm guessing. That one, who knows what that is. Lord. Oh, so it's a name. Yeah, that's a tough one. And then Lords. Now the bad. Okay, so like before I get there, let me just see what this one is. So names are just really very difficult. Oh, is it a place? Oh, it's a small town. So that's a name. Our Lady of Lords. So that's a name. That's a name. It is kind of interesting though because like this is sort of highlights one of my most confusing things of the English language, and I don't know, maybe it's all languages, maybe it's all human language, but the concept that like they're so closely related, right? Like Lord, the like that would be like your God or whatever, and then this is like miracles and stuff. And then what really surprises me is that the confidence, right? Like it thinks that there's a 65% chance I mean this one, but the first one was this up here. So that is very strange that is. I'm confident that at some point in time, the most confident one was also the um, most um, most confident one was also the first one, and now it looks like that's changed, and who knows how that's going to change in the future. But anyway, so the next video, what we'll do is we'll actually get it when you mouse over to print all those to the screen, and then maybe possibly depending on how long that takes, maybe also move it, absolutely move it so that it's over the top, so that it's near the mouse. Because I guess if you get like 100 of these things, like it's not so bad now, like if it's just right here, But if you had like tons of these, you were working on it, I guess it would be a pain in the butt. But I guess this is just an analysis tool, so maybe that is too far. Um, you know, like literally, this is the last thing we're doing for discrete for at least this round. Maybe we'll come back to another round, but you know, like we didn't do anything new for logs, so I think it makes sense to not do that. And then so maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just leave that. Just leave it to where it shows up at the bottom. But I guess it makes sense to make it to where you go click um, when you click it stays up, and then when you if you go and click any of these again, it'll toggle it off and on, whether this thing stays up or not. Um, I mean, it would be nice to have it like near where the mouse was, but you know what? Who cares? It's just not doesn't bring any actual value. It would just be nice to have. Anyways, yeah. So that's 36 minutes. I really did talk a lot today. I think I'm a little, like at first I didn't. When I woke up this morning or last night at the end of the night when I saw that TikTok was down, I was just kind of like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I don't. I like using TikTok. Like I was a kind of a heavy user of TikTok, but not like really. Like and for the most part, like I would just sort of scroll on TikTok until it got like not about cats and dogs or animals. Like so normally I would go to TikTok and I would start to scroll and I would see like some kind of freaking hilarious um like cat doing something weird or a turtle doing something weird or a cat and turtle, a little like turtle riding around on a skateboard, being chasing a cat around. Just these bizarre things that like I never would have even like when I was 20 years old. If you told me that the 56-year-old version of me would be watching a cat getting chased by a turtle on a skateboard, on a little mini skateboard, I would have been like that wouldn't even seem possible when I was 20 years old. And when I was 20, I was pretty young and open minded. And now I'm getting older and less open minded, but I'm exposed to things that I just couldn't have even imagined. Um, so I would scroll for maybe like 20 videos, maybe 25 videos. And then maybe I'd see like a couple of football plays, maybe some neat basketball play or something like that. And then something stupid would come on, something political, something not funny, not some funny cat thing. And then so I would be like, okay, I'm done with this. So I wasn't like a real like I was kind of a heavy user because I would do it quite regularly, but it's not really going to be a big loss from my life. Um, and then my wife, I felt like her business was too TikTok centric, anyways. Um, I thought that it would be better if I think she was using TikTok as a crutch, and I thought that she would be better off if she didn't spend so much focus on TikTok and would kind of use other things. So I think for her business, I think she's better off without it at this point. I mean, I think she will see a dip in her business, but I don't think it's going to kill her, and I think she'll be stronger afterwards. Um, so I think that's a good thing. Um, but what is but as the day has progressed, I'm just really starting to get more and more, agitated by the whole thing and frustrated and like as I process it more, the more I'm like sort of just deeply offended by our government for doing this. Like that was like so incredibly arrogant of them. And then the more I think about like all the people that like because we knew some people that like I would see some people. I was aware of people that were like sort of like I don't know, very 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 handicapped. Like they had some severe issues that would make it almost impossible for them to carry like a regular job and all that. And these people like would use TikTok to, and they would get money and stuff. Like people would send the money, like they would get on there and they would just kind of do their antics, talk, share their opinions about things and stuff like that. And then you would see that they were getting little gifts and stuff from people. And that was like pretty good, that was like a pretty good thing. And now like those people like are literally going from like, I mean, I bet you they were making like $40 a week or something off of that, that they were probably using just for some little money to buy like treats or something, and to nothing. And that's going to be really hard on those people, and that makes me mad. And then my wife was showing me this 102-year-old guy that I'd never seen before, but he would tell stories about that. Apparently he had over 1 million followers. He would tell stories, and he's like, yeah, no, that's probably going to kill me, that's probably what's going to happen. And it's just like, Jesus, that's crazy. So I don't know. I guess I am a little bit more upset about this than I thought I was. And as the day progresses, I seem to be getting more and more upset about it. We'll have to see how this turns out. But in the meantime, if you want to do something fun and take your mind off of things, coding is always a good thing. I will probably do some kind of coding right after I get off this, just so I can get my mind off of things. But happy coding, everybody. Bye.